Ah, the Burgundy and White game, where the Avs are guaranteed to win, but also lose. This time it was White over Burgundy, 6-2. Unfortunately, there was no video broadcast of this game in any form, so you're just gonna have to deal with looking at my bearded face and listening to my descriptions of what happened. Unlike last year, where it took just about 59 minutes to get one goal, it didn't take long at all this time. Less than 5 minutes in, Confer gets a breakaway on Varlamov and just goes bar down snipe on him. Varlamov had no chance. That wouldn't be the last you hear of Confer, but today the goals were just going to keep on rolling. 4 minutes after the Confer goal, Timmins is going to spring Travis Barron into the offensive zone. He's going to blow right past Jared Cowan and do a cross-crease pass to find Andrew Agazino, who beats out Tony Nato to put the puck past Varlamov, and it's 2-0 White. Down by 2 now, the Burgundy amp up the pressure, and just 2.5 minutes later, Brady Shaw decides to go on an absolute wrecking ball of a shift. He made 2 huge checks, eventually leading to a turnover. Alex Belzile misses a shot wide. It ricochets hard off of the end boards behind the goal, comes right out to David Warsofsky, and he pounds it home. So the Burgundy bring it back within 1. Unfortunately, a little bit later, Shaw ends up getting hurt, and he was down on the ice for a good minute or 2, but he did walk off under his own weight, so hopefully he is okay, and we will see him ready for the start of the season down in San Antonio. Remember how I told you there'd be more of Confer? With a little bit less than 5 minutes left in the first, Yakupov gets control of the puck at the offensive blue line. He makes a nice little chip pass up to Confer near the top of the circles. Comber just turns and fires it into the far corner, basically going bar down for a second snipe on Varley inside 15 minutes. If there were any doubters left about Confer, I would have to think that after today, they're not. Then, with time winding down in the last few minutes of the first period, just AJ Greer things. Puck in front of Varley, they're jamming away at it. Greer gets mad, and he starts throwing gloves at all sorts of people. Somehow he even managed to piss Varley off, and then they were starting to get into it a little bit. Varley coming way out of his crease to try and face wash Greer himself. It's kind of an interesting situation. Greer just has a knack for getting under people's skin out there on the ice, and it can be interesting to watch, even if it is against your own team. So White takes the 3-1 lead into the intermission after the shenanigans with Greer and Varley. And on the other side, when they come out in the second, you can see that a lot of the systems haven't really been implemented yet. You were getting into a lot of shinny style hockey, often having 3 guys on both sides crowding around the puck, and players weren't always really sure where they were supposed to be, leading to a lot of odd man rushes. It just wasn't crisp hockey, which is to be expected given the caliber of players and how early in the preseason this game is. But it would be nice to see a little bit more, especially on the power play. Both teams got 2 power plays and neither managed to score once, and the systems didn't look particularly interesting to this point. 8.5 minutes into the second, White strikes again on the odd man rush, this time with Yakupov carrying it up the ice, and then he makes an absolutely dirty sauce pass over 2 defensemen's sticks to hit Travis Barron on the far side, and Barron throws it into the net this time. As expected, Yakupov looked great in the Burgundy and White game, as he should, playing with the lower level of players in it and him being an NHL veteran. But where he really looked good was when he was with Confer. And I know I say that about a lot of players who play with Confer. But for someone like Yakupov, if he can find some chemistry to get him going, that's kind of a big deal for the Avs. Now, down by 3, it was time for someone on the Burgundy side to step up. And basically the only veteran-ish guy they had in Sven Andrighetto did. He started getting a crazy amount of rush chances. He was always pushing up the ice and trying to collect in those stretch passes, creating 2-on-1s, 1-on-1s, until finally he gets a clear breakaway. Doesn't manage to score on the first shot, but creates a hard rebound and gets the putback to put Burgundy back within 2. The rosters definitely felt a little bit lopsided at times. On the white side, you had Comfer, Yakupov, Greer, Bigra, Mironov, even guys like Como and Soderberg down on the lower lines. Then on the Burgundy side, you had Andrighetto, Grimaldi, guys like Warsofsky and Gabriel Bork. It just didn't quite seem like it was a totally fair fight. Speaking of fights, Greer decided he wasn't done. About halfway through the second, it looked like he got his stick chopped out of his hands at around center ice, and he decided to just turn around and go. And him and Gerard went at it for a little bit. It was a bit of a weird fight. Initially, Greer was looking to go with Geertsen, but Gerard hopped in out of nowhere, and then they kind of became a wrestling match, which is perfectly fine. I would prefer that our own players don't punch each other. So White ends up taking that 4-2 lead into the intermission. Coming out into the third, it felt a lot like the rookie showcase games. Burgundy was dominating possession and getting a lot of good chances, but they just couldn't seem to finish. Coincidence that Tony Nato was playing on Team Burgundy? I think not. The physicality also really ramped up in the third. Everyone was starting to throw out some hits. Even the veteran guys Como and Soderberg laid a few down, so looked like people were really playing for spots out there. Then after about 16 minutes of watching Burgundy fail to score, they give one back the other way. It seemed like a pretty innocent play, really. Bigra just goes D-to-D across the blue line to Mironov, and Mironov, while not known for his offense, fired a shot in right to the top far corner. Varley looked like never even really saw it, and it's 5-2 White with 3 minutes to play. Shortly thereafter, Barron would dump it into the empty net with less than a minute to go, and we are to our final score of 6-2. So obviously, Comfer and Yakupov are the two big standouts, but both of them really already had a roster spot on lock. The defensive battle for those last one or two defensive spots on the roster is where it really got interesting in the game. Siemens, I thought, played an absolutely fantastic game. His defense was on point. He was constantly rubbing people off of pucks and getting it up and out of the zone safely. He knows exactly how he needs to play, and that's exactly what he did. Bigra was kind of not so great today. He was struggling to hold pucks in at the offensive blue line and had caused a couple of turnovers in his own zone at the blue line when he failed to get the puck out. One of the dark horses in Warsofsky for that battle also showed up as well. He did a really good job of generating solid offense and was getting a lot of shots through and to the net, which is something the Avs struggled with mightily the last season. That is the end of this Burgundy and White game review. Thank you for watching. I'm sure I missed a good amount of stuff. It's just impossible to watch all those prospects out there at the same time super closely. But if you go over to burgundyrainbow.com, there should be a ton of coverage for it. I know we have at least one podcast coming out that will talk about it, and there's a very good chance that we'll have another one as well. So go take a look there. There'll probably be some other reviews of the games too. Just a ton of good content. I'm Rudo3, and let the real preseason begin.